Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro met in Caracas with Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchel as part of the latter's official visit to the Bolivarian nation. In Palestine, at least 23 people were killed and others were injured in a series of recent attacks carried out by the Israeli occupation forces in the Gaza Strip. And Vietnam held a military parade and procession in Ho Chi Minh City to mark the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos. I'm from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. We now begin with the information. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro met on Tuesday in Caracas with Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchel as part of the latter's official visit to the Bolivarian nation. The meeting provided the opportunity for both nations to strengthen their bilateral relations with the signing of agreements and the definition of a roadmap to achieve economic complementarity between both countries. The Prime Minister of Grenada praised what he described as win-win relations with Venezuela, which were also characterized by their cordial, fraternal, and friendly nature. On the other hand, President Maduro stressed that the visit of the Grenadian leader represented an additional incentive to continue advancing in the shared development of the mutual benefit and increasingly powerful union of the Caribbean region.
Hemos tenido una larga conversación.
We have had a long conversation, sharing the criteria and the vision we have of today's world, sharing the vision we have of our region and the challenges that Latin America, the Caribbean, and our two countries face for their development in the years to come. We have reviewed in detail the agreements which, more than protocol agreements, Comrade Mitchell, are plans for joint action between the governments and peoples of Grenada and Venezuela.
Previously, the Prime Minister of Grenada led a working meeting with the Venezuelan Foreign Minister Mitchel at the Casa Amarilla to expand bilateral cooperation between both nations. The meeting was attended by Ministers Alex Saab, Leticia Gomez, Juan Carlos Loyo, and Julio León Heredia, in addition to the presence of the Executive Secretary of ALBA TCP, Jorge Arreaza. Officials presented the proposals for collaboration in areas of mutual interest such as tourism, productive agriculture, fisheries and industries, and national production. For his part, the Venezuelan Foreign Minister expressed that it is of utmost importance to expand economic and trade relations between the two countries. And earlier, the Prime Minister of Grenada honored Liberator Simón Bolívar at the National Pantheon as part of his official activities in Venezuela. The Foreign Minister of Venezuela, Mitchel, and the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchel, attended a protocol ceremony at the memorial that praises and preserves the remains of Liberator Simón Bolívar, where they lay a wreath and signed the guest book. In recent years, Venezuela and Grenada have steadily advanced in respect, equality, and in the consolidation of mutual political trust, with results in several fields. We now move on to other topics. BRICS foreign ministers met for the second day in Rio de Janeiro. During the gathering, they criticized the United States' protectionist and unilateral measures, as well as the increase in tariffs imposed on countries around the world. The diplomatic leaders of the integrationist bloc rejected the increase in coercive measures imposed on governments that do not respond to Washington's interests. The foreign ministers expressed their concern about the political and economic tensions that have been generated at a global level as a result of Trump's tariff war. The BRICS bloc is drafting a resolution which is expected to be approved by the heads of state at the next BRICS summit in July, where the World Trade Organization will be ratified as the only organization that can establish the rules of multilateral system. And the 43rd International Tourism Fair, Feed Cuba 2025, will take place in Havana from April 30th to May the 3rd, and its purpose is to highlight the natural and cultural richness of Cuba. This time's guest of honor will be the People's Republic of China. On this occasion, the development strategy for the tourism sector will be based on establishing and strengthening international alliances for the promotion and growth of the sector in the country. The event will begin with a cultural gala at the Karl Marx Theater with the participation of the Litz Alfonso Dance Company, which will present a piece part of the show Fuerza y Compás. This show has taken the company to international stages for its passion, sensuality, and energetic expression of the national identity. Now we have a short break coming up, but before, we invite you to watch this Wednesday our special interview with Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchel. We will broadcast it at 6:30 p.m. Quito time and 7:30 p.m. Caracas, New York, and Havana time. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Identificamos cada pieza de nuestra geografía en el radar con una lectura geopolítica. Y es que hay procesos que impactan en medio de la construcción de un mundo pluripolar. La nueva era de las relaciones económicas, sociales y culturales están marcando esta nueva hoja de ruta. A través del análisis vamos a encontrar el vector clave de cada proceso. El mapa de lunes a viernes solo por teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. U.S. President Donald Trump held a rally in Michigan on Tuesday to mark the first 100th day of his second term. This rally was his largest public event since returning to the White House in a state that has been especially rocked by his steep trade tariffs and combative attitude towards Canada. This way, Trump celebrated what he called the most successful 100 days in office. During his speech, the Republican addressed many of the same points he had made in his typical 90-minute campaign rallies, levying insults at Democratic lawmakers. The president held his rally at a time when U.S. consumer confidence plummets to its lowest levels in 5 years over concerns about the impact of his global trade war. And precisely just 100 days into his second term, U.S. President Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating for a president in 60 years for this period of time. Among President Trump's economic policies is the 145% tariff increase on China, and he has secured more than $5 trillion in new investment in the United States. In addition, he has issued approximately 140 executive orders and has caused the loss of approximately 280,000 federal jobs. On the other hand, Trump's administration has intensified immigration enforcement, turning the 13.7 million unauthorized immigrants into potential targets for deportation and has caused 139,000 deportations. Also, he has put pressure on neighboring nations such as El Salvador and Mexico to take responsibility for the deportees. For his part, the Republican has financially supported the Israeli regime in the genocide against Palestine and has also financed Ukraine in the conflict with Russia. We continue in the United States as a new poll shows that citizens' dissatisfaction with President Donald Trump's administration in terms of its economic management. A 59% majority of people say that President Trump's policies have worsened the country's financial conditions, according to studies. Meanwhile, other surveys revealed that 28% of U.S. citizens describe economic conditions as good, while 71% called them bad. In this regard, another poll found that a 55% majority of U.S. citizens say that Donald Trump's actions on tariffs this term have been a bad policy. Meanwhile, other research indicated that 72% say that tariff policies will have negative effects on the U.S. economy in the short term. A smaller majority, 53%, expects tariffs to hurt them in the long term. In addition, 58% to 42% do not believe that Trump has a clear strategy when it comes to announcing and implementing tariffs. And we continue in the United States as more than 50,000 workers in Los Angeles County were on strike on Tuesday, demanding better wages and causing closures and work stoppages in public areas. According to the Service Employees International Union Local 721, this new strike that began on Monday failed in negotiations with the county to sign a new contract after the previous one ended in March. On its part, Los Angeles County contends that it is facing unprecedented stresses on its budget, including a tentative $4 billion settlement on thousands of childhood sexual assault claims, a projected $2 billion in impact related to LA wildfires in January, and the potential loss of hundreds of millions in federal funding. According to the union, this is the first time that this number of workers has been on strike together. We now move on to other topics. Spain is recovering from the massive power outage that left a large part of the country without electricity or internet connection. Traders and workers are trying to get back to normal. Let's see the details with our correspondent, Andres Flores.
Power outage
left a large part of the country without electricity, telecommunications, or internet. It forced thousands of people to walk for long hours to return to their homes.
It affected me when it was time to go back, because the train was not working. So I walked from Placa Catalunya to Fabra and Puig, 45 minutes. And I found a group of people who were also going to my area, where I live. And from there to wait in line and everything to catch a bus, to catch another bus. So that finally my family would come to pick me up in Granollers. So all in all, it was about 5 hours traveling.
The president
of the Spanish government demanded responsibility from the private operators for the blackout and stressed that it can never happen again. Many workers were surprised by the outage at their workplaces, like Ignacio.
We were on a construction site, and it caught us. The blackout meant that we had no more light, no electricity, no energy. Then, when I went outside, I saw that everything was the same. Everything had gone out. Even the phones.
Barcelona tries to recover normality after this massive blackout. Some shopkeepers have told us that they have had to throw away the products they had, and others are trying to calculate today what their losses have been. We met Andrew, a neighborhood merchant affected by the blackout. Andrew, like so many others, is trying to get back to normal today.
It is a fruit and vegetables trade. We had a good start to the day yesterday. We just unloaded and suddenly the power went out, which prevented us from weighing with the scales and so on. So we couldn't do much business.
Andrew, like so many others, is trying to get back to normal today.
Well, at the beginning not many people came, but now all the people who came during the blackout have started to come and, well, I guess today we are going to have to work extra.
Today everything is normal, yes, everything is very good.
A judge of the National Court will investigate a possible cyber attack, although the company Red Electrica rules it out. The reasons for the power outage remain to be clarified.
Andrés Flores, teleSUR, Barcelona.
Now we have a second short break coming up, but before, once again, we invite you to watch on Wednesday, April 30th, our special interview with Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchel. It will be broadcast at 6:30 p.m. Quito time and 7:30 p.m. Caracas, New York, and Havana time. This is a final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. We continue with more information. In Palestine, at least 23 people were killed and others were injured in a series of recent attacks carried out by the Israeli occupation forces in the Gaza Strip. According to local media reports, this new aggression occurred at dawn this Wednesday, including the killing of 2 girls in Jabalia al-Balad and a child and a pregnant woman in al-Sawara. On the other hand, 12 citizens were killed when the occupation forces shelled 3 houses in the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza Strip. The genocidal campaign perpetrated by Israel in the Gaza Strip has already claimed the lives of at least 52,400 people, most of whom are women and children, while thousands of bodies remain buried under the rubble. In this context, the United Nations described as alarming the statements of Israeli government on the use of humanitarian aid as a tool for military pressure in the Gaza Strip. During a meeting of the UN Security Council, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres reminded Israel that it has the obligation to protect civilians in the Gaza Strip. His statements come in the wake of a dramatic increase in the looting of humanitarian aid in the coastal enclave amid persistent bombardments. As part of its actions, Israel cut off the electricity supply to a desalination plant and closed the entrance of trucks carrying humanitarian aid to the Palestinian territory, promoting famine in the Strip. We now move on to other topics. Vietnam held a military parade and procession in Ho Chi Minh City to mark the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and national reunification, attended by the country's top leaders. The event brought together some 13,000 people, including squadrons of helicopters and fighter planes, which flew over the metropolis waving the flag of the Communist Party of Vietnam. These celebrations began last April 19th when the party leader held a meeting with the war heroes who attended the military operation that opened the era of reunification, peace and development in the country 50 years ago. This achievement, he stressed, was the crystallization of the blood and heroic sacrifice of millions of compatriots and fighters from all over the country. Tensions keep growing between India and Pakistan as the Islamabad government denounced that New Delhi is planning a military attack in the next 36 hours and warns of retaliation. Precisely, Pakistan's Information Minister Ataullah Tarar said that the government has credible information that India intends to attack Pakistan in the next 24 to 36 hours. The official also added that any act of aggression will be met with a strong response, holding India responsible for the possible consequences in the region. These statements come amid tensions between the 2 Asian powers following the terrorist attack in Falakam in the Indian region of Kashmir, which caused the death of 26 people. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi led a meeting on Tuesday with his cabinet committee on security comprising the defense minister, the national security advisor, and top military commanders in New Delhi. At the gathering, the premier gave operational freedom to the armed forces to decide how, when, and for what purpose to respond to a potential aggression from Pakistan. A week ago, in response to the terrorist attack on Kashmir, the Indian administration ordered the expulsion of several Pakistani diplomats, revoked visas, closed the land border, and suspended the Indian Water Treaty. And also in India, at least 14 people lost their lives on Tuesday night when a fire broke out at a hotel in the city of Kolkata. The commissioner of the Kolkata police, Manoj Kumar Verma, indicated that so far 14 bodies have been recovered and many of the guests who were in the hotel have been rescued. In this regard, it was unveiled that most victims died of suffocation, while at least one person died trying to jump from the roof of the hotel. The authority also noted that a special team had been formed to conduct a proper investigation of the causes that generated the fire, which they reported to be under control. Via social media, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his condolences to the families of the victims. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and also on TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.